So I'm tired, I've busted my ankle, I have to be at work at 5:45 in the morning tomorrow, and it's already quite late. However, nonetheless, it's time to Kiki! Let's go! Ooh, girl, it's the Kiki! The house don't work. Yes! Girl, bye! OTO shade! Girl, the library is open. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Kiki. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. My name is Chris Says It if you are new, and if you are new, hit the subscribe button. If you have been here many times before and you have not hit the subscribe button, outrageous, quite frankly, hit it. So firstly, I must apologise for this being up quite late. I have been working a lot over the weekend, which meant that I wasn't able to film, and then obviously with it being Easter Sunday and that the bank holiday weekend, I have been seeing friends and family. My mother came to stay with me, so I wasn't able to film because this is the spare room where she sleeps. And then, as luck would have it, on Monday I managed to bust my ankle in a exercise class, so I have been kind of like resting up. I've been lying on the sofa for a little bit, so I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible because I'm tired. As I said, I've got to be at work tomorrow morning and it's kind of painful just standing up, so I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. And just as a forewarning, next week's one will actually be up late as well. I'm going away for the weekend. I'm going to a very special function, and then I'm going to stay at my mum's place, so I won't be back here until probably Tuesday, but I'm going to try and film and edit all in the same day. But just so you're forewarned, that one's going to be a little bit behind, sorry. So let's get straight into this. This needs to be as sassy and fabulous as possible in a very short amount of time. So we are here to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race Season 9, Episode 4. What is the title of this episode? What were they doing again? Oh my god, you can tell I'm tired. What were they doing? It was the morning TV shows. Okay, this episode is called Good Morning Bitches. So the queens come back into the workroom and Kimura has gone home. Aja is still very bitter about the whole thing that she was in the bottom and that she was still coming for Valentina. Also, side note, have you heard that remix that someone did about Aja and Valentina looking like Linda Evangelista? If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Like, oh my god, I think Laganja lip-synced to it, but the song is actually brilliant. Go check it out. So yeah, Aja's complaining. She's like, look, I wore 4 items and Valentina just wore a leotard. And I'm just sat there like, yeah, she might have worn just 1 leotard, but it was better than your 4 items. Sometimes less is more, darling. However, to her credit, later on in the episode, she does come down and they do make amends, but we will get to that. Oh, and Cynthia is just happy that she got past episode 4. So this is a new record for her, really. So we go straight into the main challenge, and they are doing a morning talk show. Aja and Trinity are captains because Aja was in the bottom last week, so she deserves to somehow lead a group. And Trinity won last week, so she definitely does deserve to lead the group. So they pick the queens, they split into 2 rival TV shows, Good Morning Bitches and Not On Today. So then for the next, like, forever of the programme, they focus entirely and exclusively on Trinity's team. In case you didn't actually realise, this whole thing that we're about to talk about is the only thing that's focused on, and we don't actually get any footage whatsoever from the Good Morning Bitches team. The first thing we actually see them do as a group is the actual show. So Trinity dishes out the roles, and Eureka is complaining that Trinity is a dictator, and quite frankly, yes, I too am seeing the resemblance to Kim Jong-un. I wonder if they would do something like this in North Korea. Kim Jong-un Drag Race, start your engine. The problem is the winner every season would just be Kim Jong-un. Wait. What if Trixie Mattel and Katya did a North Korean themed episode of their hit Wow Presents YouTube show and just call it Kim Jong-un? I'm not gonna lie, I'm very proud of that one because I just thought of that right now. So then we're sticking with the Not On Today TV show where, although, right, side note, not sure it should have been called Not On Today. I think it should have been called Not Today Satan, but it's just my 2 cents. So Charlie has taken control. He's working with Cynthia, and he's like really trying to contain Cynthia's, like, you know, craziness and sort of showing a little bit of control freaky tendencies. Cynthia is clearly getting agitated, but to be honest, you can't really tell because she's always like, you know, agitating. She's always moving and she's like, cuckoo, cuckoo, yeah. You can never quite tell when she's agitated or if that's just, you know, her being her. So then we get to the main challenge, and the Good Morning Bitches are up first, and let's talk about the acrylic toenail extensions. The first thing I thought when they showed these was that Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia will be absolutely thrilled that acrylic toenails are now becoming a thing. After many years of trying, she's finally making an impact in the fashion world. And then in the entertainment bit, there's this bit about queens without teeth, and I'm very glad to see that Valentina is following the latest trends on this one. Then we have the DIY with Sasha and Shay. That is beyond hilarious. Their banter was absolutely stunning, and they're kind of like a pairing that I hadn't seen kind of, you know, working together. Like, clearly they built up a bit of a friendship, and, you know, they work very well together, and I did not see that coming. Speaking of coming, that bit with the broccoli, I was just sat there like, girl, I know it's been a while, like, you've been sequestered for a little bit. I know it's been a little while since you've had something like that around your mouth, but, like, you don't need to take out your sexual frustrations on a stick of broccoli, even if it is covered in chocolate. Overall, a very strong performance from them, and I can absolutely pretty much guarantee, absolutely pretty much, is that a contradiction in terms? Whatever, that for the next few episodes, all the girls in Team Aja are going to walk into the workroom every morning and say, "Good morning, bitches!" So we move on, and now comes the soon-to-be cancelled hit TV show, Not On Today. And it's quite ironic, really, because although it's not on today, it's definitely not going to be on tomorrow. In this particular episode, they talk about what items in your makeup bag might be affecting you negatively. Drop Dead Gorgeous? No. This whole thing is just basically car crash TV of the epic proportions. And it's quite funny, really, because next week is the one about keeping up with the Kardashians, not this week. We also have a very amusing DIY segment with Eureka and Nina Bonina Brown, and it's called Drag on a Dime, and by the looks of it, they practice what they preach. Although I do love the bit where Nina is stuffing that ass full of ham. I mean, let's be honest, Eureka does not need any more reason to eat some ass, Henny. Okay. Yeah, you go for it, go. You eat the ass. And then at the end comes the thing with Naya Rivera where they have the interview and Charlie wraps it up and it goes really wrong. So let's talk about this. Because it's interesting, because obviously with the edit that they've given Charlie is that he's like a control freak. But the thing is, he stepped in because Trinity and Peppermint missed their cue. As anchors, Trinity and Peppermint are there to introduce the show, introduce the different segments, the guest, and wrap it all up at the end. However, because of the edit Charlie was given with this episode makes him look like a control freak and that he kind of jumped in and stole their thunder. However, his reasoning was if they're watching The View and the main hosts kind of miss their cue, what would Joy Behar do? Because that's kind of the role he was playing. What we need to also remember though is that as a group, those six didn't rehearse very much together at all. They were working individually and apparently Trinity was not going between them to kind of make sure they were all doing the right thing. So obviously Charlie would probably not have been looking at or rehearsed the anchors kind of wrap it up kind of segments. Obviously on the teleprompter they weren't given the exact words, so I'm assuming it was something that they had pre-written. Charlie was probably not privy to this exact wording because he probably thought, I'm not going to need it. So when he says, right, we need to cut to commercial, he didn't know what he was saying. All he knew was that the live feed was going to cut and they had to say something and he wasn't sure if they were going to come back. Now obviously, as we all know, because spoiler alert, Charlie ends up in the bottom two because of this and some of the other control freaky ways. What I find interesting though is that had Charlie kept his mouth quiet, Peppermint and Trinity probably would have been in the bottom two because they both missed their cues. Technically, Charlie would have been perfectly within his right to completely ignore the situation and blame them too. He tried to be a team player, get involved and save the situation, and it kind of all just went really wrong and he was punished for it. Should Charlie have been punished for it? I'm not entirely sure. Although he did flub the lines, we have established that he didn't know what he would have been doing and he was trying to save the team from an absolute disaster because the two anchors were not doing what they should have been doing. So although yes, I know Charlie wasn't exactly very gripping in the entertainment sector, the biggest issue that it seemed that the judges had with him was the fact that he kind of flubbed the ending, which was not his job in the first place, and he was trying to be a team sport. So should he have been in the bottom for that? I'm not really convinced. I really don't think he should have been. So Elimination Lopez Day comes. I mean, what? And the runway is naughty nighties. As they're getting ready, Aja and take out your teeth, turn around, put them back in. So as the girls are getting ready, Aja and Valentina talk it out and Aja apologises, which I think is lovely, and then they can kind of, you know, move on with their friendship. Charlie and Cynthia talk about HIV and AIDS, and I think it's good to talk about it. I think a lot of people forget or don't know about how big and serious the whole HIV/AIDS crisis was in the 80s and how serious it still is today. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but I sort of just want to take the opportunity to say, like, you know, if you don't know about the 80s and early 90s AIDS crisis, go Google it and just find out what was going on, because this thing was massive, you know, and as Charlie said, he was of that generation, he knew people who were spreading the virus before it even had a name. I felt that was a very poignant line because people kind of, you know, we're so focused now on the label of it, and, you know, he's from an era where this was happening and no one knew what it was. And then the fact that when he said, you know, he's buried most of his best friends, and as Sasha said, that we have lost so many fabulous entertainers because of it. And, you know, what they could have brought to the table in the 21st century, you know, we owe it to them to, you know, keep informed and stay educated on this subject. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Be knowledgeable, be educated on it, and be respectful. There's an intense little moment between Eureka and Sasha. They have like a little argument over Eureka's quote-unquote joke. I know Eureka's humour is very divisive, and I think some of her jokes are very funny and some just aren't, and I can see kind of where she was coming from with this one, but it kind of struck a bit of a nasty chord with Sasha, and she was just like, don't joke about that, that's not funny, I've struggled with that, it's not a laughing matter, and blah blah blah. But obviously when it comes to things like that, everyone can have a different opinion, say, look, you know, laughter is a healer, and then others are saying, no, you shouldn't make fun of something like that. But, you know, we won't get into that, but that's what they were kind of talking about. While we're here though, can we take a moment for Sasha? That whole scene where she's like half painted but still not dressed, so she's showing off all her muscles. Methinks a lot of people in this scene are going to be questioning their sexuality. She's looking good though, she must be hitting the gym or something, you know what I'm saying? Trade. Speaking of trade, Jeffrey Bowyer Chapman, can we talk? Can we talk? Oh, and Naya Rivera was on the panel as well, whatever. So we get to see the looks on the runway, and they are quicker than Usain Bolt running to the bathroom when in dire need. However, the standouts from the 3 seconds of footage we got from the runway was Farah, Valentina, Trinity, and Charlie, and kind of Nina, though it wasn't really a nightie, was it? Also special mention to Aja because she has listened to the judges and she has painted herself differently and she looks fabulous for it, and that outfit was kinda cute. It was a big step up from last week, so yeah, special mention to Aja. So Shay, hang on, shit. So Shay, Shay and Sasha, oh my god, try and say that 3 times when you've had a couple of vodkas, do you know what I'm saying? So Shay and Sasha win the challenge and all of Good Morning Bitches are safe. So the girls get their critiques, yada yada yada, same old, same old, same old, you know, and then Ru asks the inevitable question, who should go home? Very much an ooh, cluck, cluck moment. It's a very shady moment, and the vote is split 3 ways between Trinity, Peppermint, and Charlie. There's a bit of a spat between Trinity and Eureka. I mean, Eureka is definitely a bit of a stirrer, but I'm kind of living for it because her beef, I suppose, is often quite valid. It's just the way that she expresses it is sometimes very shady. But, you know, if she calls out Trinity for not being a good enough leader, then okay, fine. So Trinity and Charlie fall into the bottom 2, which I think everyone was kind of surprised about because I don't think they really expected Charlie to be in the bottom 2 because Peppermint's runway outfit was like dire. However, that's the situation we found ourselves in. Personally, I was a little bit gutted because I was really rooting for Charlie. In fact, that was my flair on Reddit. I really thought they would keep Charlie out of the bottom 2 if he ever slipped down there until Snatch Game. I thought they pretty much brought Charlie in just for Snatch Game and then they'd be like, okay, look, you know, we'll just like, if he falls in the bottom 2, then he falls in the bottom 2. But I thought up until that point, they would always try and keep him out of it. So the song is I Wanna Go by Britney, which is quite apt because Charlie, I think, definitely was channeling I Wanna Go. So Trinity absolutely turns it out. Sasha is playing peekaboo, Charlie does absolutely nothing, and Eureka is just chilling. Just chilling. Honestly, where did she get that chair from? But yeah, Trinity does an absolutely phenomenal job. She totally turns the party. It was phenomenal, totally memorable, and has definitely made her mark that she is a true entertainer. However, it was a very painful lip sync to watch because Charlie did not move, but I think there was elements of that that we were not made aware of in the episode, but since then, I believe Charlie did a live stream or something where he said that he had actually cracked a rib in the cheerleading challenge, so he was unable to kind of like, you know, run around or move much. He was also in 9-inch heels, and as well, he's not a lip sync artist, so he kind of knew that he wouldn't really be able to compete with Trinity on that level. I think is what we said, he hadn't had like any sleep for a couple of days because of the amount of pain he was in, and so, you know, when they were saying like he was dead behind the eyes, it was more just the fact that he was like, you know, a walking zombie because he had had no sleep in like 3 days. All in all, that's an absolute recipe for disaster when the adrenaline's supposed to kick in and you're supposed to be fighting for your survival, and Charlie just could not muster up the energy. Very heartbreaking to watch because I was totally rooting for Charlie, but I totally get why as well he wasn't able to really like turn it out because he was hoping that he would never have to lip sync. I think a lot of people out there are probably very disappointed that Charlie didn't even really move around much, but you know, when you take into account the health factors and you know the sleep deprivation, you can kind of understand. So I don't hold any ill will against Charlie. I am totally still standing Charlie. Yeah, but it was just really sad to sort of see Charlie bow out like that. So yes, as we would expect, Charlie was told to sashay away, but in his parting words, he encouraged some of the older queens to start applying and to get onto the show, because obviously he's the oldest one that's ever been on, and it is definitely true. There are a lot of younger queens that are influenced by some of the older ones, and the older ones still have something to offer. So I definitely agree with Charlie. You know, those older queens definitely need to get their audition tapes in. I would love to see what they could bring, because they would obviously bring an element of, you know, the old school and the nostalgic way of doing things, but also they must have an element of the new as well. So it'd be really interesting to see how that would play out. And before I wrap this up, I'm also absolutely loving the fact that at the end of every episode, Eureka just pops her little head round the end and just like smiles and walks off. I think she's done like every episode so far, and I'm absolutely loving it. So I think that is everything, guys. What did you make of the episode? Do you think Charlie got a bit of a bum deal, or was it kind of time for him to go? Also, let me know if your opinions are changing at all on kind of who you think is going to be the top 3, because I know certainly my opinions on a lot of the queens are changing like week by week, and I'm certainly seeing new sides to all of them. You know, for me, the competition is still very much wide open. Although obviously Valentina is, I think, very much a strong front runner in this, because her looks have been impeccable. Let me know all your thoughts of this episode in the comments below, and then we can start chatting and debating and Kiki and all that good stuff. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel. At the time of filming, I have less than 300 subscribers to go until we hit 10,000. So the faster we can get there, the happier I will be. So yes, please do subscribe. Drop this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, follow me on social media, just search for Chris Says It on basically all of them and you'll find me. But until next time, guys, and as I said before, it will be a few days late because I will be away. But until next time, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble, stay fierce, stay fabulous, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Love you. Bye. Mwah. Wait. I'm going to do a Eureka ending. Wait. Bye. Are you shaking? Oh, you shaking. Oh, you shaking and rattling and rolling. Bitch, please. I need some stability in my life. I ain't got no stability in anything else, let alone my fucking tripod. You going to stay put? Are you not going to be a bitch?